this is my OpenClaw video, my full setup with real use cases. Real quick, a background on myself. My name is Karen Seda. I recently founded Cutbox and I consult for 2 companies, just for the context of this video. So real quick, what is OpenClaw? If you haven't heard of it, it is the fastest growing open source project. In addition to that, that's what Grok says. It's an AI agent, runs on your own computer, not a chatbot, actually can perform real world tasks. And this is the guy making a deal with Sam Altman, the founder of OpenAI. He's jacked. Congrats to you, buddy. Now, here's the questions I want to answer in this video for you. What are the real life use cases? This is the one we see all the time. 2, how am I using this in my business life? 3, how am I using my personal life? And last but not least, how is this different from just buying the most expensive subscription from either of the providers? And I plan on answering this question by the following: showing you how I organize it, my business use cases, and the personal ones. So we're going to dive into all those. Now, before we jump into that, let's talk about why I bought a Mac Mini and the cost of it. So I bought a Mac Mini because OpenClaw is open source. You know, it can be crazy, especially for someone like myself who's non-technical. You want as much protection and security as possible. So by running the Mac Mini, it essentially is its own computer, which it is its own computer, its own employee, into my workspace. And how do I make it my own employee into my workspace? I give it a Slack account, I give it a Notion account, and then I invite it to my Notion workspace and my Slack workspace. Now, let's get back into the cost, like I mentioned. But first, the cost. $700 for a Mac Mini, $200 a month with Claude Max, whatever above the basic level OpenAI has, so $20 a month. Some API calls I do is Perplexity for that deep research, and then supermemory.ai just for a memory backup. Let's call that $100 a month. And I know for my people who know, yes, my memory is stored locally and my memory is stored on my Notion, but I like this having it third place. That's just kind of who I am. Now let's jump into the organization. But first, why did I organize it in Slack? So all the companies that I've created and the companies I consult for operate in Slack. So if Q, and I don't know if I told you this, but Q is the name of my OpenClaw, and my James Bond fans know why. I want to work in side by side with me. Let's keep them in the same place. So we built him a Slack. So Q, the first channels I just hit fire ideas and or commands. Q Consulting is where I keep all the consulting gigs organized. Then content, you can guess that one. Then Cutbox, that's the company I founded, and we want to keep everything in there. When it comes to reports, we have some cool ones. Current reminders every morning. It reminds me of my to-dos. Only things that I can complete, not an AI model. Model usage, you can guess what that is. Key reports, every morning and evening it gives me a status of the system and any AI news. The models, especially in generative video, and the models in general, moving so quick. When I'm working on a company like Cutbox, a little bit AI based, we need as much information to stay up to date as possible. And last but not least, we have Q System Health. This is an open source project. It can debug, it can have bugs, and so we set this up to auto-debug itself. Let me show you an example of what that looks like. So you can go through here, and you can see that it is a heartbeat. So it checks every hour how everything's running, and so it's pretty cool. You can just see what's going on. All the 22 jobs are running. The debug is good. And let me show an example of what it looks like when it isn't. As you can see, we're having some issues here. Okay. Then let's jump in to the agents. Charles is for copywriting. Scout is for that deep research. And then last is my biking. And I connected that fun side project, connected my biking chat with the Strava API so it can import all my rides. And I'll show you what I built that later. All right, so real quick, when we start on these business use cases, I'm going to save this landing page one, but I'm going to get something fired off so I can explain the rest of them and we can come back to it. So real quick, I'm a marketer. I create, I want to get as many leads in for any of the companies I work for, and I do sales ops. So landing pages are, a part of my life. So let's just show you a fun example I did. And let's just fire this off real quick. So you're going to see an example I did for my friend, but while we're talking, I want to show you how cool this thing is. So the goal here is to create a high converting landing page for Remy Roofing. They're not too far away from where I'm filming. They're out here in Lehigh. They're like a nationwide roofing company. And here's their website. I added a screenshot of their brand colors, which is down here. Added a screenshot of their competitor landing page and offer, which was mine, Breezy Roofing, we crushed. And I added in a screenshot of our landing page. And here's a Figma make link, and use screenshots to make the best version. Use Opus 4.6, Claude's, one of probably its flagship model at the moment, Anthropic, I mean. And then use the browser and screenshots to do it in this thread. So I'm gonna go ahead and shoot this off. And for those who don't know, Figma Make is essentially a tool where you can prompt it and it will make you kind of almost whatever you want. And AI is the best when AI can talk to AI. So let me just shoot this off. Okay, we're gonna shoot this off right here. You can see Q starting to work. But let me show you an example of what we did. So my good friend Stratton owns a company called Utah Roofing Experts. And, let's get back in here. Utah Roofing Experts. And I did the exact same thing, right? We added a screenshot of their brand colors, which is over here, a few screenshots of our landing page that converted, and gave it a Figma make link. And just for reference, let's see if it hasn't started yet. The Figma make link looks just like this. It's like a blank white screen when they start. But let's jump into this here. And what it did is over time, it went ahead and it worked back and forth with make, and it created this for Stratton. Let me pull it up. It just with a few simple prompts. It created him this landing page. And no, it's not perfect. I wouldn't launch it immediately, but this is something what goes 85% of the way before you push it to your final design team for they can do their finishing touches on it. But just look how much time it saved and allows someone like myself who's not crazy good at design to get it where I want it to be. If you want to go a step further, you can always just screenshot the things you don't like and then tell Q to update them for you in the landing page. But you can see what I'm talking about with this Remy example I'm doing here in a second. But we'll sync back there in a moment. So, okay, what's the second business use case? Anyone who's on calls all the time, you get this, you do a 45-minute call, you try to be as productive as possible. There's a ton of action items, and you don't want anyone to drop the ball. So what I do in most cases, I take my notes from Notion. I use a Notion recorder in the video. And let me just show you what those look like from today. Let me just go real quick, switch to my workspace. And then let me go here. And let's just go to my recent meeting with Tiana. So I don't want to expose too much information, but it gives me action items. So what I do is I grab the action items of what I want to do, and then I go to Q. And let's say I have an action item for Tiana. She wouldn't mind me using her in this case, but she's kind of like she delegates out the people, makes sure things get done and tracked in their end. So I would say this. Let's add to the SVG database a task for Chris to update XYZ. This is a test, so we don't trick them, and make sure it's in Notion. So that's an example right there. Okay. And so right now Q is going to fire off, and it might be a little bit delayed because it's doing what it's got going on here with the Remy roofing. But what it's going to do is going to add a task in Notion. And here's an example I did a bit earlier. Let me just show you where we did, one second, click the wrong thing, but right here. So I just finished a call at Chris at SVG. Can you add into the database a task for Chris? And just for that one prompt, it added the task into the database, which is really cool. Let's keep cranking. Now we go down here. This one's maybe not a big deal to most people, but I feel like I'm always on the fly. And like when you're in a group chat with 3 people and they're like, hey, send me an invite link, it's kind of like who's going to send it is kind of awkward, tedious task. So what I do is I simply go like this. You can type it into Q, but I think it's fun to do this, where you simply hit your audio recording on your Slack, and I say, hey, can you schedule a meeting for Paulo, Santiago, and myself to meet tomorrow at 10 a.m. and to set the meeting to let's just have a good time and catch up. Okay. So Q is going already. They've already fired off here. And let's bring it over here for you guys and see a little bit better. Let's bring it back here. It's so, but while it's setting up that, let's look at how our task did. So here is our task we just set up for Remy, and let's see what it talked about. A new Figma makefile, same brand, because we did something before. Submitted, waiting on Opus to build. Done, let me grab the preview, sending it to Karen. And let's check it out. Let's check out what they did. So you guys saw that blank Figma make screen. Let's see what it looks like now. Okay, let it load. Give it a second. While it's loading, let's check if we schedule that meeting. Oh, here, let's add Paulo. So we need Paulo at striker.marketing. Okay. And so real quick, this is their landing page we built with a prompt. So this is pretty neat. You can go through here, then now their team can push it all the way to where it needs to go. Add in the testimonial, you know, make sure their stuff is backlinked in there. You can see there's real life reviews and kind of the value prop here, right? So Remy, from my understanding, is a roofing marketplace. You submit your info and they'll get you matched with a contractor. Just a quick plug, I can't mention Remy without my buddy Josie Parks, competitor roofing company called Roofix. I hope that the best one wins. Okay, so that's that use case. Building out landing pages is awesome. Scheduling Google Meets links. Let's see if that got completed. Oh, you see, so there's a mistake. It's not perfect. Same person. Thank you. Not perfect, but whenever you have their email all the way uploaded, you can have your assistant or yourself and go and upload all the emails of everyone you want to use within the system. That's awesome. So you'll see this work, but I can just show you an example of it working earlier today. We can go here to me setting up a meeting with, let's go ahead and check this out. I can't find it right now, guys, but you guys get the point. Okay, perfect. And you can see right now it's self-correcting, done saying, and then you can see it got completed. There's the invite link, and there you go. All right, daily reports, pretty cool thing it does for myself. It sends me a report in the morning and the evening with tasks that it completed, and then stuff that I need to do as well, along with daily AI news we've already talked about. Now here's the personal use cases. One, I've already mentioned this. I love the voice to Notion task. Just because I don't want to take too long, I'm going to show you a few examples that I did. One is I lived in Utah for like 5 to 6 years, and I still haven't learned how to ski. And some of my best friends are learning how to do all the snow sports now, so I need to catch up. So one day I just was, I saw the mountains, hit it with a voice message, and I asked it to find me everywhere besides Park City. Where's the best place to learn how to ski? And here's an example of a task, right? Pull this information, scout the research one. The agent did that, and you can see all the information here. And then same thing, I went to a business event, and I saw someone with a nice sweater, and I wanted something like it. So exact same thing was done here. Now, let me just show you how we manage all the tasks in queue. So here you can see a few examples. Here are all the stuff that is kind of working on in the back end. You can see the queue operations. You can see the daily logs of what we're doing, deliverables, and my task tracker for myself, and then some of the cycling stuff. Now here's something really cool that you can do, and this is the vibe coding that they talk about, is I wanted us to show, for the sake of this video, how easy it is to build something with the power of AI and OpenClaw. And so I wanted to create a dashboard for my cycling stuff. So let's see right here. So I went in the queue, and let's see if I can pull it up real quick. Give me a moment. Okay, so right here, I was simply like, hey, for my bike, I want to see if there's a way we can pull in the API from Strava and build a dashboard. And so it helped me guide me through exactly where to click. I don't know if my API token's in there, but we'll skip through that real quick. And then step by step, it used its tools, its thinking, using Opus 4.6 to plan, Codex to build it out. We built out a dashboard for cycling. And as you can see, this started, let's see when I got back into it. I got back into it at 8:10. Sorry, 8:10, I started right there. And then by, let's see, by 8:43, we had an up and going website. And just for you to see what it looks like, let's see if I still have it open. Here it is. So for you guys who cycle, my FTP is 237. I'm trying to get that higher. I've been kind of grinding right now, so not consistent with the rides, but it's pretty cool what we built. So in summary, this is how we feel about it. My thoughts twice. I'll add the guy in the description who made this meme, if you will. This is how I felt. You build it, you get super frustrated, like it drives you crazy. I probably spent like 15 to 20 hours setting it up. But honestly, I wanted to learn how to use AI and how to communicate with stuff. So I was working in the terminal and coding back and forth. But then this is true. You get on this red curve, and then you have a really good increased productivity. And so this is awesome. So I've really, honestly, got better products out for people who I'm working with more detail, along with myself. So what are the real life use cases? Let's say I'm just a random guy. I have friends who work in real estate. I have friends who work in, they oversee multiple companies. Biggest thing is you can make a Notion board just like this. And, oh, not like this one. Let's go back to the one I had. Let's go here. Give me 1 second. Okay. You go right into here, and you could create a Notion board or a task tracker for anyone in your team to do things for you, right? Let's say you have a personal assistant. You can literally just keep voice memoing, talking to Claude, and tracking and seeing what they're actually getting done and giving a feedback loop. Or you can go ahead and build landing pages. I'm going to show you guys how soon to build out some static ads with using OpenClaw. There's a lot of use cases. But in my opinion, what I really love about it and why is it different from the Claude Max plan is that the context and the memory, once it's getting stored locally, gives you so much ability to reference and keep doing things, and the reminders and the jobs, keep everything really organized. So guys, I was trying to compile a lot of information into one video. So if you have any questions, please put them in the comment. Reach out to me on LinkedIn, reach out to me on Instagram. You got my number, text me. And that's exactly how I set up OpenClaw, my full setup with real use cases.